I'm alive, yes. Okay, so the chain rule. The chain rule says if I want to take a derivative of a composite function, and that's f of g of x, and that's equal to f prime of g of x times g prime of x. But most of you guys don't know what's composite function, which is that's what we need to go over. What is composite functions? So composite function is a function within a function that you learned this in term of pre-calc. We should have give you some type of things like this before, but we didn't. I didn't know these. But if you have from other teacher, you might have. But I did not give you any practice for that. But in actual pre-calc, you had to learn like which function is the composite function and what they compose of. So we're gonna talk about what are those things first. So here we're gonna talk about chain rule. But before that, we're gonna talk about composite function. So if I have A, and I have this function says, this one is y equal to f of g of x here. And this one, the function is gonna be, I think, 1 over x minus 1. So this is my function. So what will be the g of x? Should I do g of x? Yeah, I should do g of x first. And what will be f of x in this case? So if my composite function is f of g of x, what is my g of x and what is my f of x?
1 over x. X minus 1 is g.
X minus 1 is g of x. Good. Do you see that?
No.
And what's f of x?
1 over x.
1 over x. Good. Do you see that?
No.
This plug in here.
Oh,
So it's equal to this. Because this is an inner function, this is an outer function. I'm plugging g of x into the f of x. If I plug in g of x into f of x, what am I going to get? This.
wait,
Wait, why would you? Okay, because f of g
Oh,
of x.
okay.
You know what?
There's a lot of X's.
Uno mas.
Okay, that's good. That's fine.
I think you should do
What
it.
is sine of 3x? What will be the inner function in this case?
Don't screw up.
Shh, don't scream about. That's good. So don't scream about. Kind of think about what will be the inner function and what will be the outer function in this case. What do I plug in into what function is going to result with sine of 3x? And what is the outer function and what is the inner function? Nicholas?
Gx would be, gx would be 3x.
3 of x is going to be g of x. Good. What will be the f of x?
Sin x, yeah.
Good. Does that make sense?
No.
Because g of x is the inner function, right? I plug in inner function into the f of x, which is sine of x, which is sine of 3x.
You have to get the derivative of.
Not yet. We haven't get there yet.
I see.
We just do the pre-calc
You
part.
stick the g of x in the f of x. So you plug the x. I got it.
That sounds kind of wrong.
Okay.
I'm just using that to remember.
Exactly.
Sorry. Let me give you this first. Let me give you this first. What is? Let's go with Malia. How say your name, Malia? Okay. What will be g of x and what will be f of x in this case? It's okay to do wrong. We are gonna laugh at you. Ha 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 ha.
Can I try and be wrong?
You can laugh at me.
No. Let her do it. 2x plus 1.
Plug this into this test.
And plug in, what do you think the f of x is in order to get this function? If it's 2x plus 1.
There's a square inside.
No? Jose, do you think it can help? No? Hold on. Anna, what do you think?
For the outer function?
Inner function. Let's start with inner function. G of x.
3x.
Do you see that? What is the outer function now? Do you know?
Square root of x.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
I plug it as into here. Ah.
Wow.
D. How about 10 square of x? This is kind of hard. 10 square of x.
Why do you have to put in,
X squared.
I don't like
10 don't like you.
10. 10 can suck it.
Need my sexy tank.
Oh, yeah.
Bobby actually gave the whole lesson.
I know, he was like, you need to sleep with 2 people.
I commit the ear rape when I was
Oh yeah, that's helping me remember how to do that now.
ear rape without consent.
Wait, what did you do? What does it mean you're
Okay, so what will be here? This one's kind of hard one. Yes, Anthony?
Sine over cosine percent, or just tan.
Tan x?
That's
I
way
just
too
put
complicated.
Is it tan x?
Tan x?
It's 10x.
Yeah, okay.
That's
And
right.
then is it x squared?
And this is x squared. Good.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay. Wait, how?
So,
Okay, I went too complicated for it.
So if you plug in 10 into the x, then you'll be 10 squared.
I have a question.
X, yes.
How is
Could
it
it-
tan x get bigger?
It doesn't really matter. Let's say
Wait, does the position matter? Or-
It does.
because x squared, you put tan x into the x squared, it's just tan squared.
Oh.
10. If I put the other way around,
So when you combine.
then that's gonna be 10,
X squared.
yeah, 10x squared. It's not 10 squared x. There's a difference. Okay? So question about this part.
Oh, wait,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you can't just have like x and then just plug in 10 squared x? You can't do that?
Yeah.
Can you do that? Yes, you can. You can. But in order, when we do it in chain rule, you have to see the outer function, inner function in a certain way. But yes, sometimes you can get different type of answer on this type of questions. You can have that, and that's fine. But technically, can I say as x? Can I say g of x is 1 over x minus 1, and f of x is x? That, you can do that too, but that's kind of defeat the purpose. So we're gonna talk about this equation though. We're gonna talk about the chain rule. So this one's super easy. I think a lot of people can do what we can do today. It's super easy. Is just imagine I have f of x, and we're gonna have say 2 minus 3x squared to the 7 power, right? So of course, I'm not gonna ask you to expand to the 7 power. Your life is kind of gonna be miserable, which is I don't want to happen to you. So I really want you to actually understand how do I do this without expanding it. But if you expand it to derivative, you're gonna get the same result. So this must be a way here. So we're gonna call this one h of x. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So what do you think the g of x is, and what do you think your f of x is in this case? If I were to f of g of x is equal to 2 minus 3x squared to the 7, what will be my g of x? 2 minus 3x squared, good. What will be my f of x? X to the 7, good. So what happened is, I'm gonna take a derivative just x to the 7. But we're not gonna say it's x to the 7 because the inside material is not x. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna treat this like a big U. Okay, we can say this part is U and just take derivative of U7. So if I take a derivative of this case, I'm gonna take it down to 7 times 2 minus 3x squared to the 6, which is, I just did this part. Right? Does that make sense?
Okay.
Now I'm going to take a derivative, the g of x. G of x is 2 minus 3x squared. What's derivative of 2 minus 3x squared? And that's it.
So you don't have to.
Wait, you don't do it.
Put it in.
You cannot put it in. You cannot put this inside. This is different power. You cannot put this anytime, even square root, different power, you cannot do it. But you can multiply negative 6x and 7, you're gonna get negative 42x times 3 minus 3x squared to the 6.
Oh my god, it's the answer.
That's the answer. Yes, it's so beautiful.
42.
Where'd you get the negative 6x from?
Huh?
Where'd you get the
I take a derivative of the inner function, which is g of x. So take a derivative of 2 is 0, and take a derivative of negative 3x squared.
times that? You are.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. This one's a little bit challenging. I'm going to give it to you. Is f of x is equal to the third power, third root, sorry, to the 3x minus 4x squared to the fifth power. And you say,
Oh, wait a minute.
what will be the g of x here? What will be the f of x here? Oh, let's call it, don't call this f of x, we can call this h of x. We're going to take the derivative of h of x. So that way you can think of what's inside function and what is outside function. It's funny that you will come a fifth period. Katarina is always on that side and I'll be start writing on that side. And when she moved to here, I'll be writing on the other side. She's so mad. She's like, why every time you move away?
Mr. Ye, still don't get how you got the negative 6x.
Okay, I take a derivative of the inside.
Huh?
I take a derivative of the inside, inner function.
Because look at the equation.
Okay.
Hello.
But how'd you get 3 minus 3x squared?
Yeah, I'm confused about
They can come to get better, yeah.
That's just.
But there's not correction today because I haven't graded yet. Okay. I'm not that energized to grade all the things. Yeah. We don't have time to grade all the stuff.
I'm a hostage.
Okay, so can I rewrite this equation that I can actually take a derivative?
Yeah.
So what can I rewrite it to?
3x minus 4x squared x to the 5th. X to the 5th.
That's definition radical, right? So a to the what? M over n is equal to n of a to the m power over roots.
Yeah, that.
So now I'm going to take a derivative. What will be the outer function? Is this big thing is to the 5th over 3 power, right? So can I take this big thing to the 5th over 3 power? Just imagine that this is a big x, right? So I'm going to assume that this is 3x minus 4x squared. So I'm going to take a derivative of just the black part. Does that make sense? I'm trying to color code so you can understand. I don't usually color code. So 3x minus 4x squared to the which power? 2 over 3, good. Now what do I forget? What people always forget is what? The derivative of the inside. What's the derivative of the blue part? 3 minus ax. And then I can do that, I can rewrite it, say 5 over 3 by 3 minus ax over 3x minus 4x squared to the 2 over 3, and then you're done. Now in the front, sometimes I can simplify those, in this case I cannot simplify.
Simplifies to negative 40. The 5 over 3 times 3 minus 8x, right?
What?
Because 5 times 3 is like 15 over 3. That's 5. Wait, no. Can I do that? No, you can't do that.
Oh yeah, you get distribute that, that's gonna give you 5 minus 40x, but this one's
That's
fine.
also tough, but you can't.
You can distribute to the first power, you cannot distribute to anything like other than 1 power.
My
Okay?
bad, my bad.
Yes? I just erased this one.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so go ahead, what are we gonna ask? I'm gonna take a derivative here.
No, it's just, how come you multiplied 7 times negative 6x? It was times 6x,
Times what?
negative 6x.
Right, derivative of the
Yeah,
inside.
I know that, but like, you ended up getting 42x.
And then I just multiply those two together, so it'd be negative 42x. Those 1, 2 underlined.
Two different.
2 minus 3x squared to the 6. Okay? Question about this part? I need to keep this here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's derivative.
How much time I have?
6 minutes.
Good, that's enough.
Is this the chain rule? Yes.
This is a chain.
I was expecting more.
Yeah, me too.
No, it's gonna be more, trust me, tomorrow you're gonna have fun. Not today, today is like introductory, just kind of warm you up. Oh, calculus is not too bad. Don't drop this fast. So, now you have, what's gonna be next? You have f of x, I'm gonna call it h of x, we'll call it f of x. H of x equal to -3 over x minus 4x squared to the, I think, fifth power. Hi, Courtney.
You played.
I'm sorry, somebody don't want me to erase that part, so I had to move to the side. Suha, thanks, Suha. Good job, Suha.
Good job.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a derivative of this. Hey, I remember that rule. Which rule I can use? Yeah, but there is other way that we can do this question without involved with.
Yeah,
Look,
That's what it.
the quotient rule is one of the things that if I can avoid it, I will avoid it. Because like first test, that last test, that we can split them, then I will split them, right? I avoid quotient rule. In this case, I can avoid quotient rule. What would it be? So we're thinking about exponent rule, right? So be a to the negative n is equal to 1 over a to the n. This is the exponential rule, and 1 over a to the negative n, that's equal to what? A to the n over 1, right? So can I rewrite this into the numerator becomes negative? Does that make sense? I change it at 5 to -5. Basically is I use this rule. Because this is positive, I can move to the numerator so I can use the power rule. So now I'm going to take a derivative of this. So -3 times what? -5 times x minus 4x squared to the what? -6, good. Am I done? No. Then what happened? People fail the test? They're done right here. They had to take a derivative inside. Derivative inside is what? 1 minus ax. And then you can simplify this equal to 15 times 1 minus ax times x minus 4x squared to the -6. You can simplify this 15 times 1 minus ax over x minus 4x squared to the 6th power.
Do we have to do the matter?
I go back and then change that to positive exponent. I don't need to say whatever. So remember, in this case, I don't have to deal with quotient rule. If I do quotient rule, the word is much longer and much more tedious. Remember, in calculus, you're gonna find what the shortest path, not because I know how to do this with one way and I won't want to do it any other way. Okay? So you gotta be able to understand this. Can I record a whole screen? Yeah.
Why is it?
Huh?
Why is the derivative of f of x 3? Would it be 0 because it's a constant?
I didn't take a derivative. This 3?
Yeah.
I didn't take a derivative. Derivative is not -5 put in front.
Oh, okay.
And then this one's gonna subtract 1 times 1 minus ax. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you to do one. H of x is equal to -8 over the third root of x minus 5x squared times to the 2nd power. So I want you to take a derivative of this. Math first, that's the most important thing. You can avoid quotient rule, that's fine, but make sure you do it right, mathematically speaking. Okay, so and guess what? I post your homework today, on time.
Already?
Delicious.
Aw, didn't wait.
I have to wait till 4:30. And make sure you check your answers. I think I posted answers as well. And then, so you can look at, make sure you do it right. Please show up with homework. Matthew, Nicholas. So double check see if it's right. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So I'm gonna change that to what? X minus 5 squared to the negative what? And if I take a derivative, so I'm gonna write down f prime of x right here. That means I know how to take a derivative. Negative 8 times the negative 2 over 3 to the x minus 5x squared to the negative what? No, you cannot subtract. 5 over 3 times by 1 minus 10x. Because derivative to the inside, don't forget about that. Now I'm going to simplify this. That's going to be 16 over 3 times 1 minus 10x times x minus 5x squared to the negative 5 over 3. And that's equal to 16 over 3 squared to the 5 over 3. And that's my answer right here.
I will be back to do my homework after robotics.